In today's video, we have breaking news. The president just signed the EPSTEIN Transparency Act. This compels the DOJ to release all files in their possession to the Oversight Committee. Also, the president confirmed that he would meet with Zohran Mamdani this Friday, November 21st. And finally, Jasmine Crockett humiliates herself. We'll show you both sides to all of these stories, but let's start with this announcement. Take a look.
There is breaking news. The president has just posted on his social network that he has now signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It is long, quoting the relevant portion from it, quote, Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats, was a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians, and was deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures such as Bill Clinton, who traveled on his plane 26 times, Larry Summers, who just resigned from many boards, including Harvard, sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who asked Epstein to donate to his campaign after Epstein was charged, Democrat Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, and many more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their association with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed, because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein.
Okay, bottom line up front is this. We knew the president was going to sign this Epstein Transparency Act. He had no choice in the matter. He had to do this. He should have already done it, to be honest with you guys, okay? Number two, the real bombshell out of 53,000 pages, that's what you see here on the screen. Some came from the DOJ, others came from the Epstein estate, was Stacey Plaskett taking cues from Jeffrey Epstein during a live congressional hearing. Just craziness. Number three, and it's in the form of a question. Will Congress actually not only talk about who the perpetrators are, but will they be subpoenaed to Capitol Hill in order to testify in front of the American people? If Congress doesn't do that, why would we ever take them seriously as it pertains to getting justice for the victims? All right, let me show you guys this next clip. This is Kamala Harris demanding the president to release the files. Take a look.
You have all kinds of people weighing in. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, continuing her book tour, said this.
All of a sudden, now he's waiting for Congress to greenlight what he will do or wants to do? Come on. Yeah. So, release the files. Release the files.
What do you make of that, Brute?
Well, she was vice president of the United States for 4 years and part of an administration which had complete control of those files. And we never heard a peep that I can remember from her or from the president, Joe Biden, about doing that. It's only now that the president is in power and Democrats are once again struggling to find something, anything that they can possibly get to try to stop the momentum of this president who has so bedeviled them and who they've made such fools of themselves trying to bring down for all these years. Here we are. Here we go again. Perfect example here.
We'll continue to follow all sides. Britt, as always, thank you.
Now, as you guys know, we are big on research here on the show. We like to show you guys both sides to the story and encourage you to make up your own mind. And the number one tool that we use to make this happen is ground news. If you've been watching me for quite some time, I talk about this quite often, by the way. At any rate, the one thing that I love about ground news, and we'll use the story that we're talking about right now, is Epstein. It's so easy to just do research. You want to see every single story reported regarding Epstein, just go to the search box and type in Jeffrey Epstein, and you're going to see everything that has been reported using ground news and what the bias was, who reported it, who didn't report it, right? It gives you the full picture of what people are talking about, because the ultimate thing is what? Transparency. This is what people on the left and the right want. Ultimately, the American people want results, outcomes, and transparency. Now, before I continue, hear from Scott Jennings. Take a look.
Well, and Scott, on that front, you heard what the Attorney General said today about what she'll release. But MAGA is what was demanding this. They were the ones who were so upset when Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and everyone came out and said, there's nothing more to see here. I mean, will they be satisfied if this Justice Department doesn't release everything in the next 30 days?
Well, I hope they are, because the president gave them what they wanted, which was the release of the files. But Pam Bondi, as the Attorney General, does have a responsibility to uphold all the laws. And if there are other laws in play here that do protect certain people from having information released, she's got to look at that too. So I don't know how they're going to end up synthesizing what just passed with what's already on the books. But I do think just because this law passed, it doesn't necessarily nullify other laws on privacy. So I'm sure they'll do their level best to be as transparent as possible. I don't know what volume that means that'll have to be held back, but it sounds like most of what they've got is going to come out, and you know, this is what certain people around the president who supported him wanted. So I hope they're satisfied with it. He, after all, called for its passage and signed it into law.
Yeah, see, I agree with Scott Jennings. We want transparency, but here's the deal. People will only be happy if the perpetrators are brought to justice, meaning they are prosecuted, investigated, dragged to Capitol Hill, okay? And if that doesn't happen, people still won't be satisfied. That's why I want you guys using a tool like Ground News, because it's going to pull in all of the articles, categorize them by political spectrum, articles that lean right and articles that lean left. Why is this so important for you? Because if you look at all of the articles that lean right, you can figure out what the narrative is on the right. Then you can compare that narrative with articles that lean left. That's exactly what we do here on the show. We do it in the form of video clips. So guys, I encourage you to continue to critically think for yourself. Stay optimistic, but you use tools like this to help you do that. So if you want to use this tool for yourself, all you have to do is go to ground.news/Devori, or you could download the mobile app. Just use promo code Devori, and it's going to give you access to everything that I showed you in this video, including 40% off the Vantage plan.
Do you think that there would be a legitimate reason for them to make redactions? I think these are the concerns I hear. People are worried about redactions. They're worried about withholding of information. They're worried about them using these new cases as just an excuse to withhold large tranches of documents. Do you think any of those things are real concerns?
Well, there's a bright spotlight now on Pam Bondi because she's going to be the one who has decision-making authority, discretion over what do we produce and what do we not produce. Now, the law provides basically two major categories that she can redact out. One is uncontroversial, victim identities, right? Everyone agrees we need to protect the privacy, the confidentiality of victims. The more controversial category, though, is ongoing criminal investigations. That's going to be up to Pam Bondi. And yes, just a few days ago, they suddenly announced, after months of saying nothing to see here, actually we're opening up some brand new criminal investigations. Unclear exactly what they are, unclear exactly how broad that redaction pen can be used. And we just heard Representative Massey saying, well, we're going to make sure that she only uses it very narrowly as she's supposed to do that by law. I respect that. I think that's a good approach. The problem is no one's going to know.
And that last point that he made is why I believe he continues to call it a hoax. It just doesn't play well messaging wise and optics wise, right? What does that signal to the actual victims? Again, if it was me, I would have brought those victims into the White House, into the Oval Office. I would have held a huge press conference. I would have got ahead of this, and I would not have given the Democrats the opportunity to weaponize this. That's essentially what they've done. It's one of the few issues that they can unify with, okay? And it's hard to dispute on its merits. The file should be released, no question. All right, now, the interesting part about all of this, and I think you guys will enjoy this, is Jasmine Ghetto Crockett. Yes, I call her Jasmine Ghetto Crockett because she likes to switch up her accent every now and then, especially when she's going into some rant. And here she is accusing not only Lee Zeldin, but John McCain of receiving funds from Jeffrey Epstein. But there's a kicker, and I'll show it to you after this clip. Take a look.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so once again, we show you both sides of the story. Well, here's the other side. Lee Zeldin fired back. He said this: yes, Crockett, a physician named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who is totally a different person than the other Jeffrey Epstein, donated to a prior campaign of mine. No freaking relation, you genius. Oh, that is so funny. And not only just him, but it was also Meghan McCain fired back as well. My dad has been dead 7 years. Representative Jasmine Crockett. He never met Jeffrey Epstein, let alone took money from him. The Jeffrey Epstein you are referencing is an entirely different human being. Do you have mashed potatoes for brains? You absolute joke. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm telling you, these people don't do their research for whatever reason. And then during this same little rant that she was going down on, she claims She claims that it wasn't on Biden to release the files because he didn't campaign on it. Take a look.
We were gone for about 2 months because we couldn't talk about Jeffrey Epstein. And now everybody wants to act as if they want to have like a real honest conversation about the victims and the survivors and everybody else. Where was this conversation a long time ago? And I know that y'all love to go back and say that Joe Biden didn't do it. You know, Joe Biden is blamed for everything. Joe Biden didn't do anything and it was Joe Biden's fault. And why wasn't Joe Biden? Joe Biden didn't campaign on it. I just want to be clear. If y'all can run me the tape, then run me the tape. But you know, when you campaign and you go out and you make a promise, then we evaluate whether or not you actually meet your promises. So listen, this was rope that y'all decided to hang yourselves with because the president campaigned on the Epstein files while we were campaigning on things such as affordability.
So why did Democrats have to run on affordability? It's because of what happened under the Biden administration when Democrats were in charge. You just can't make this stuff up. We're on the website right now, fec.gov. Do it for yourself. Remove the dates and just put in the name. And what do you got? Jeffrey Epstein repeatedly. Okay, this goes on for what? 842 entries. Okay. And obviously, if you do the date, you'd only want to be searching before 2019 for the record, because obviously that was the year that he mysteriously disappeared. But the point is, guys, she's a member of Congress. I would expect someone on her staff would have actually connected the dots. Oh, wait a minute. This is 2022, this donation. He wasn't alive then. But when you want to push a narrative, you don't care about the facts. Now, let's go to this update because it's in relation to Epstein. As you guys know, Plaskett was supposed to be censured last night. Republicans made a backroom deal in order to save Corey Mills. Well, Nancy Mace, she's not letting up. Here she is introducing the resolution to have Corey Mills censured. Take a look.
What purpose? Gentlewoman from South Carolina, seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. Censuring Representative Corey Mills of Florida and removing him from the Committee on Armed Services and the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Okay, so just a couple of things. The staffer who runs Representative Corey Mills' account has turned off comments. You can't even leave a comment. He did release a statement. I'm not too sure he wrote it. I don't think it comes from a place of authenticity, and I'm not going to waste your time reading it. But I just find it interesting that you can't even comment on his account. His chief of staff also put out a statement here in general counsel, okay, saying he's innocent. He did get a Bronze Star. This is all slander and defamation. Okay. Well, the other interesting thing is that the House Ethics Committee just announced that they would create an investigative subcommittee to investigate the issues surrounding Representative Corey Mills. Here's a letter dated today, November 19th. This is a smoke show, meaning this is all not going to resort to anything, okay? You don't need an investigation to understand the allegations against Representative Corey Mills, okay? That's just the bottom line to it. They already know who he is. Everybody in Congress knows what they're doing. They know people are corrupt. They know people have committed crimes and gotten away with it. That's no secret, okay? You'd have to be naive to think that's not a reality. Now, Nancy Mace did fire back on this announcement. She says this is an attempt to kill her resolution to censure Representative Corey Mills. So, will he be censured or not? You guys give me your answers in the comment section below. All right, so now we go to our next update. The president has confirmed that he will be meeting with Zohran Mamdani, November 21st to be exact. Here's his post. Communist mayor of New York City, Zohran Kwame Mamdani, has asked for a meeting. We have agreed that this meeting will take place at the Oval Office on Friday, November 21st. Further details to follow. So this is going to be a flashy event. This is going to get a lot of attention, a lot of headlines, of course. And it's just an interesting state of affairs that we have to see a meeting between the New York City mayor and the president in the Oval Office. I mean, what have we come to as a country is my point. All right, now here's what Zohran Mamdani had to say in a recent interview, not only with his plans, but what he plans to talk about with the president. Take a look.
Do you think a lot of people go into meetings with Donald Trump, I think, thinking they're going to be the one to get over on him. And I sometimes often think, I've watched this now for 10 years, they screw up because they think they underestimate him. Like, what is your goal for a meeting with Donald Trump? What do you want to come out of a meeting with Donald Trump?
I want to just speak plainly to the president about what it means to actually stand up for New Yorkers and the way in which New Yorkers are struggling to afford this city. And frankly, cost of living is something that I heard time and time again from New Yorkers about why they voted for Donald Trump. And this is something that is only continued in the last few months of this year, where we're hearing about childcare concerns, rent concerns, Con Ed concerns, even just getting on the bus just $2.90. And just to make it clear to the president that this is what we're talking about, these are the stakes for New Yorkers and their ability to keep calling this city their home.
So if you remove the emotion and just listen to what he objectively said there, no wonder he won the election. He keeps going back to it. He spoke about affordability within those 30 seconds more than Democrats have since the government shutdown. I mean, I don't know what's going on with people on Capitol Hill, but they got to wake up. Okay, that is for sure. Now, he's talking about the right issues, but his policies and his solutions are flawed. Okay, no question about it. But at least he talks about the solutions. And that is the key difference right now. And hopefully the GOP gets their act together in regards to that. Now, here he is talking about his top issues that he ran on and what he believes is going to be his first major policy that he will implement for New York City. Take a look.
One thing that you know about very quickly is that New Yorkers don't have patience, right? And they want to know, what are you going to accomplish on day one? And so you are not going to have a lot of time to prove some of the things that are going to need the time to get done, right? So just for a New Yorker's sake, that you ran on 3 big agendas. It sounds like universal childcare might be the first that gets done. Is that accurate? While you are firing on all cylinders, what's the first that might get accomplished?
Yeah, I think the first order of business will frankly be the Rent Guidelines Board and freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. That is something that happens on an annual basis here in New York City. The other two, as you referred to, is making buses fast and free and delivering universal childcare. And just this past week, I had a great meeting with the governor where we spoke about our shared focus on an affordability agenda and on universal childcare particularly. And this is something that will take a period of time. These are all promises that I intend to keep over the time that I am mayor. And I also know that what they have the potential to do is transform New Yorkers' ability to live in the city. I mean, parents have to spend $22,500 a year for a single child. That's less money. That's more money than they would spend if that kid went to CUNY 18 years later.
Okay, so let's just focus on what he is proposing, the merits of it, all right? We don't have to attack him as a person. Just look at the policies. He wants to freeze rents. Does this work long term? Basic economics and historical evidence says no. Why? Freezing rents destroys supplies. Freezing rents destroys supply. Okay. 2, it reduces mobility. Tenants stay locked in artificial cheap units, not because the unit fits their life, but because moving is unaffordable. 3, it shifts costs, not eliminates them. 4, empirical record is brutal. 1943 to present, severe housing shortages, crumbling buildings, lowest vacancy rates all exist in New York City. Same thing that happened in San Francisco and in Berlin. Long-term effect, fewer units, higher overall prices. But again, he's talking about affordability, which is the right message, but he is applying the wrong solution.
And what you did see play out a couple weeks ago, what is your response to Tom Homan, who yesterday said, we'll be back?
Yeah, I will tell Tom Homan what I will tell anyone who asks, which is the fact that I am looking forward to representing the entirety of this city. And this city is also an immigrant city. It's a city that's proud of its immigrants' heritage. It's proud of the fact that so many from across the world find their home in this city. And we will protect those New Yorkers as we protect every New Yorker.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about his reaction there? He forgot one word. New York is a legal immigrant city, okay? People who came here legally, not illegally, okay? There's a difference. And it's the same rhetoric that Karen Bass was spewing off. Yeah, I want to protect all Angelenos, even the criminal illegal aliens. Is that who you're talking about? I don't know why it's so difficult for them to just make a stand on this. It's a losing issue for them. But this is what they truly believe in, folks. Now, on that point about immigration, North Carolina is continuing to see businesses close because they are in fear of Border Patrol and ICE. Take a look at this story.
Whenever anyone comes in, employees at North Tryon Laundromat lock the door behind them. David Rebolloso decided to start doing that after a man being chased by Border Patrol sprinted through his door Sunday. The security camera shows the agent turn away, but inside...
He ran in running and yelling, and all the customers that were inside, They got all agitated and they ran right behind them.
After a bit of a bottleneck at the back door, they streak across the parking lot and into a wooded area.
A lot of my clients who are majority immigrants, they're very nervous and scared. Now my laundromat is practically empty, so I have no customers and I have no business.
As a U.S. citizen and Air Force veteran, Rebolloso felt safe to stay open. He says no other Hispanic-owned businesses in the shopping center did the same Monday. But Tuesday, the supermarket a couple doors down was locking its door too, and a manager delivered groceries to customers unwilling to leave home.
But you would do this as long as necessary, right?
Yeah, because it's my people.
Rebolloso is also doing free laundry pickups and drop-offs for his regulars.
I mean, I'm there to help my people, to protect my customers.
Okay, let's be brutally honest here for a second. Why do they have to lock their doors? Why is it that children are not showing up to school? It's because a lot of these people are in the country illegally. If you're not in the country illegally and your papers are in order, you have nothing to worry about. We've already talked about this, okay? But the media and the way they like to run the stories, it's as if they're trying to program us to feel sorry for these people. It's an inconvenience. There's no question about it. I get it. But if you decided to cross the border illegally, you committed a crime. Doesn't matter if Jasmine Crockett doesn't believe that's not a crime. As we know, a lot of Democrats don't believe it's a crime if somebody crossed the border illegally. It is what it is. But the U.S. Constitution is clear about it.
Today, I get to tell you on why we're closed. As you guys have seen, there have been a huge impact and a huge growth in ICE detentions, Border Patrol presence here in Charlotte, in the Queen City. So right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. We have shut down. We are an ice cream shop that 80%, 90% of our customers are Latino. As of right now, I cannot take the risk to bring my employees to be profiled because a lot of them speak Spanish. They look like me. I look like the profile that they're looking for. So it is a risk that I am not willing to take.
As I'm listening to him, I can't help but think, if I was him, would I be mad at the federal government when it comes to these deportations? Or would I be mad at the people who put us in this position to begin with? You see, he should be mad at other people who crossed the border illegally, other Hispanics who did, other people who came from Latin America. They are the ones who made this situation what it is, with the help, of course, of the last administration. So President Trump isn't ruining anything. He's enforcing the law. The people who ruined it, and why you might get profiled, according to his language, is because we had 15 to 20 million people cross the border illegally.
More than 200 arrests have been made in North Carolina as the federal government's Operation Charlotte's Web continues.
We're never going to feel safe. We're never going to not be immigrants.
Christina Rojas became a U.S. citizen in March. She owns the Batchmaker in Charlotte and closed her bakery for the first time in 4 years, fearing for her community's safety.
Some people would say, why do you feel as if you are unsafe because you do have citizenship here?
I became a citizen, but I don't stop being Honduran. I don't stop being Hispanic. So while, yes, I am a citizen, it doesn't take away from who I am, and I am an immigrant.
Across the city, students have staged walkouts. School officials say that district-wide, more than 30,000 students, roughly 22%, were absent on Monday.
Yeah, so we had already talked about that. And again, it just speaks to the amount of illegal immigration that occurred in our country. How many of them are in schools right now, at elementary schools? How many of them are actually working? They said some construction businesses actually had to shut down recently, didn't show up for work. Again, if you're doing the right thing and you're in compliance, you still are at risk for being pulled over, no question about it. But if you had to provide for your family, and you could prove that you are here lawfully, I'd be going to work. I got money to make. I don't for a second believe majority of the people not showing up to work, majority of the people not showing up for school, these are not people who are here lawfully, okay? I don't think it's majority of them. And that's just the way I see it. You guys let me know what you think about these stories in the comment section below, of course. I guess let's start with Representative Corey Mills. Nancy Mace introduced the resolution to have him censured. It looks like Republicans are already going to squash that as well. Jasmine Crockett shamefully accuses John McCain and Lee Zeldin for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein came out to be false. The president finally did sign those documents to have them released. I showed you there was 53,000 documents already in the Oversight Committee's possession. I don't understand why they haven't released the names of the perpetrators, but at any rate, just give me all your thoughts and everything you got in the comments section below. Now we go to our next video. Jason Crow, Democrat out of Colorado, just got embarrassed on Fox News. He's one of the Democrats who released the video instructing members of the military to defy lawful orders. If you missed out on that update and more, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.